Notice is hereby given that the mayor and city council of the city of Nogales will meet in regular session Wednesday, July 11th at 6 o'clock. I call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will you please lead us in pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for invocation. Invocation today will be given by Pastor Reverend Woods for Emmanuel Baptist Church. Thank you, sir.
Let's pray together tonight. Thank you, Father, for this evening, and I thank you for the day that you gave us. Thank you for the creation and everything we see. And Father, tonight I ask for special blessing. I ask for special wisdom for the council, that they may decide the matters that are before them tonight. I pray, Father, that you give them wisdom and discernment, that they can lead, that they would be responsible, Father. Father, I thank you for putting them in place, and I thank you for the representation of our city, and I ask that you would guide them and lead them tonight to understand the matters before them, to discern the motives behind each matter, and Father, to guide and to lead our great city. So, Father, I thank you tonight for this opportunity to do your business. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Reverend?
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Please be seated. Call to item number 4, call to the public. I have Susie Clark Morales.
Good evening. I'm coming to ask one of the things that the city, the mayor, and the council please consider is a change in the signage regulations as they stand. As you know, your regulations haven't been changed since 1982. What Oasis Cinema has attempted to do, and we actually got money from Pepsi to do it, was to get an electronic sign to put on the corner of Mastic and as you're entering Walmart. If you've noticed, we've had a very ugly looking banner that's been placed there to try to get people to look up, because unfortunately none of us do. I get vendors that call me from that intersection saying, where are you? How do I deliver? Because nobody looks up. The other thing is to ask for a moratorium or revisiting of that particular part of the code, which is 704 as a measurement of signs, and also for off-premises signs. Now, Mr. Machado, thank you, I'd like to thank Mr. Kissinger and Mr. Machado for doing their due diligence when we first entered our permit. Did explain that it was an off-site sign, and it is true. It isn't connected to the theater at all. But what I'm requesting is that if we could capture some of the people that are actually going to Walmart, and it would help us tremendously, and obviously help everybody else, including the city coffers. And I would suggest that a variance, or not a variance, but an exception be made to this particular code at this time, and because the understanding, as Mr. Machado explained it to Mr. Kissinger, is that it would be like 7-Eleven putting a sign in front of a Circle K. Absolutely understandable. I would offer that on behalf of Oasis Cinema that we would go ahead and be allowed to place that sign, and when another theater comes, and if it's okay with our neighbors, then we'd be more than happy to remove it. We aren't competing with anybody. What we're asking to do is have the opportunity to go ahead and increase our revenues, which are very difficult, and at the same time increase yours. The second matter would be for on your one issue, which is 704, the measurement of signs and temporary signs currently. I'm also asking on behalf of other business owners that currently were others, and you'd be surprised to know that if they're forbidden to have like pennants and things that they've used in the past and spent quite a bit of money on, some businesses have even lost up to 20%. It would be very, very nice that we go ahead and have a Scottsdale-like environment or a Tempe-like environment, but unfortunately, we need to attract businesses to our businesses. They don't know where we're located. And to allow those businesses to have those pennants and to have banners or whatever is necessary, balloons. Quite frankly, guys, I would love to see a walking chicken or a taco up and down Morley trying to get business into some of those places. It shouldn't be offensive. We need to draw in more customers, and we're not capturing them all as well as we could. So I'm asking that that be reconsidered, and perhaps a moratorium be placed in that part of the signage until at such time for existing businesses. If you want to enforce the codes, enforce them with any businesses that are coming in that have already not expended money on things of this nature. Now to put them in storage because they can't be used, to allow us to spend the money where we had initially had it for these marketing tools, and in new businesses then enforce the code, is what I'm asking the council to reconsider. There are probably other areas and aspects of your code, obviously, since it hasn't been done since 1982, that require a lot of changes. But for an immediate fix, this is what we implore you to do, is help the existing businesses exist. Because we're struggling. All of us are struggling. Many have shut down. And as far as bringing in other businesses, then the code, I think, would apply. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much. We can't really ask any questions.
Oh,
to the
I'm
public.
sorry.
But that's all right.
You should be able to.
What I'll do is we will put it on a future agenda, and I will sit down with the city manager and discuss this with planning and zoning. We've talked about this
Yes.
already in the past 2 months.
Yeah.
So
Oh, good. I'm glad.
there's something in the works already.
Well, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Next is Hank Teisel.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, my name is Hank Teisel. I live at 84 Patricio Court, Rio Rico. I'm also the chairperson for the Santa Cruz County Animal Control Care Commission. Tonight I bring you the bylaws. This commission was formed 17 years ago, and there's been a lot of changes. We decided that some of the changes need to be made in the bylaws. So I present to you the old bylaws and our proposed bylaws. Now, the county supervisors have looked these over already and approved them, so now the city needs to look it over, and I'll be welcome to come back anytime on agenda and discuss any of this with you. But a lot of the changes were due, we couldn't keep a quorum, and some of the people that was on there originally don't want to be on there anymore, like the health department, and like the animal control officer, health officer, Mr. Escalada, Dr. Escalada. He physically can't, and because the business can't be on there as a voting member. So he's in there as ex facto. We've got in there too also that if you miss several meetings, you'll go ex facto until you bring your attendance back up. With this, it will help us keep a quorum. So in the future, if you have some questions, go ahead, come back.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes,
Just a
Mr.
clarifying question. Did you say that the county supervisors already approved this?
They've already approved it.
Okay. Do you know when that happened?
2 months ago.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Teisel. And I don't have anybody, is there anybody else in call to the public? All right, item number 5, Mayor and Council's report on current events. Mr. Diaz, will you start off, sir?
I'll try to make it quick. Monday, I went to Sterling Lighthouse Services up in Tucson. Pretty sad, but I was there. Sunday, I went to a BFW district meeting in Benson, Arizona. I went to the 4th of July festivities, which were great. Had a good time, real good time. I also went to the 4th of July festivities at Mr. Chad Cummings, the U.S. Consul, at his house across the line, and had the 4th of July festivities. I believe it was August 30th, but it was great. We had a good time. Went to a DFW State Convention in Fountain Hills, Arizona, June the 11th. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Hancia?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I also went to the funeral services for Sterling Lyle, and I was amazed how many good people worked for the city of Nogales, Arizona. And the Reverend Leo Lopez gave a tremendous eulogy, so it was very, very, very good. It's too bad it had to happen, but who was there. And also the 4th of July was excellent here, even though it rained and it was muddy, but I think everybody had a good time. I had a very, very good time, and I was just surprised at the thousands of people that sat up on the Walmart parking lot to look down. And they said they had the best view, so, but that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Parada?
I also attended the 4th of July event across the line with Mr. Cummings, and also attended the 4th of July. The city had provided, it came out real good. And I also attended the ceremony and the mass for Mr. Sterling in Tucson. And I'd like to really praise Captain Lopez for his wonderful program speech that he said about
That's very nice.
firemen. I thought it was great. I think he was really put an impact to the people over there.
Yes, you did a great job. Thank you, Mr. Parada. Vice Mayor?
I attended the parade here for the 4th of July, sir. It was awesome. I also went down to Patagonia to see the parade, and of course I got wet. It was a terrible storm.
It was a
So I
wet
came
day.
back with a terrible sore throat, and I called you. I'm sorry I couldn't attend the 4th of July, but they say it was awesome, and I congratulate you. And of course, Mr. Lopez on the eulogy, I saw it on TV, and it was awesome. He moved a lot of hearts and people, and sorry it had to happen this way, but we just have to accept what God says, and that's it, sir.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor?
I also attended the 4th of July celebration in Nogales, Sonora. I also attended a monologue presentation at the Consulado Mexicano. And right now we're working toward the Fiestas Patrias event, September 16th. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Phillips?
Due to my illness, I haven't been able to do too much, but I did go to the 4th of July parade. I had the pleasure of riding with the Vice Mayor, and I attended the festivities, which were great, by the way.
Great, great. Thank you very much. It was great. Is that all you have, sir?
That's about it, due to my illness.
You're doing fine, Tomo. Well, I've got quite a bit, but I'm not going to go through the whole thing, like always. But I did. I'm going to start off by saying that I was also part of the funeral services for Sterling, and it was very sad. It was very sad, and you know, my wife and I both attended. We spent some time with him in the hospital with his mother. And that was even sadder than anything else. I couldn't believe it, and you know, I just hope something gets done, and our own department and our own agencies within the city of Nogales and Santa Cruz County can assist TPD in any way to apprehend this person or persons that were involved in this. It's something that needs to be taken care of. But it was a sad moment for the city of Nogales and an extra sad moment for the fire department of our cities. And I attended the 4th of July, of course, the parade and the festivities that were great. It was a great event, and I want to congratulate the committee people from the city of Nogales and Marcel Bachelier for putting it together. All the staff that worked on that, you guys did a great job, outstanding. I also want to thank very much Mr. Suarez, who was Grand Marshal Angel, your dad. Great job, you know, I talked to him a lot, and I was impressed, you know. So it's a great veteran, a Korean veteran that was a Grand Marshal on that day. I also attended the ceremony that was done at the wetlands for Tony Sedgwick, which he received an award from Washington, D.C., which is very important for our area, for the history of Nogales, and for the wetlands, for our own community. And I attended the ceremony. Mr. Diaz was there with me and Mr. Hanesian across the line. The Tourism Council, very important council for both cities. This council will work closely with the city of Nogales, Arizona, to promote tourism, and you know, it's going to be a great benefit because they're going to put out the council that they created is actually not a component of the city government. It's a separate component. It's kind of like EDF. Remember, Susie?
Right.
It's separate from the city, but the city supports them 100%. So we're gonna jump up, piggyback on that work that they're gonna be doing, and we're gonna promote both cities with tourism, so it's very, very positive. I'm glad they did it right prior to the elections. But it's not gonna be attached to any party, so it's pretty good. I also attended the graduation from Primeria Alta graduates. Very proud of those kids. Like they say, it's an alternative school. They consider themselves, they've always say that those schools are at-risk kids. Yeah, they're at risk of being good citizens of our community. That's what they're at risk of being. So I'm very proud of them. I also attended with Aaron White, a meeting with Education Regional Development for higher education for our community from the University of Arizona at Esplendor. And that is a great project. That's something too that the University of Arizona will be able to assist us here in Nogales, Sonora for further education for the maquiladora industry and logistics and all aspects of trade. So the U of A is going to work very hard on that, and they're going to help us out with our own extension here in Nogales. And then I'm going to skip everything else, and then I also attended a meeting in Maricopa with the Association of their government for the Sun Corridor Economic Region, the 21st century. Now that group is working very hard to assure not only that their area, Maricopa, is on the top when it comes to the global economy, but to also assure that our port in Nogales is part of the mapping from here to Douglas, from here to Prescott when it comes to the corridor of trade. So it is very important that meeting that Mr. Gilly and what we were there, and that meeting and Aaron White also, so that we could partner with Maricopa and all these other governments, all these COGs and NPOs, so that we can work together, not only for the economy of the city of Nogales, but also for the whole region, the border region, and the state of Arizona. So that was a very important meeting that we attended. So I want to thank Mr. Dilly on that, and I want to thank Aaron also for being on top of that. So I'm going to skip to the rest of this, but those were a couple of things that I did this past month. Thank you very much. Item number 6, consent agenda will be A, B, C, D. Second. Thank you very much. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 7, consideration and possible action of resolution number R2012-06-006.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number R2012-06-006 as presented.
Second.
Thank you very much. Discussion?
I'd like to amend to the motion, like I didn't attend the budget, not to fund a position of the assistant city manager.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Well, we're voting on the amendment.
The amendment.
Okay, the amendment, if an aye vote would mean,
An aye vote is to amend the budget that was presented.
a no vote,
As Councilman Parada presented last, whenever that was presented, on the 20th.
okay.
Okay? So if you're in favor of the amendment, you vote aye. If you're not in favor of the amendment, you vote nay.
You vote no, and that would mean
The
it would
budget
go
stays
back
as it is.
and it would be presented as
Right.
So originally was.
the original.
Yes.
Right.
Let's just be clear. We have a motion on the table. We have a proposed amendment to that motion. So what you're acting on right now is the proposed amended motion that is asking to remove the assistant city manager position from the budget. A yes vote affects that, a no vote does not affect that, and then we refer back to the original if that doesn't pass. Back to the original motion if that doesn't pass.
So no.
With all due respect, I think you confused it, Mark.
But you got two motions there.
Yeah, but now, this motion, this amendment, if it passes, that means that the assistant administrator position, it will be eliminated from the budget that you vote on in the next motion. So if you want to eliminate that position, you vote yes right now. Okay, any other questions? I'll make sure that.
No, that's it. Okay? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Opposed?
No.
Nay. It's 4-3. Nay.
Okay, so now the motion before the council is the original motion
On the budget,
to approve the
The budget.
budget as presented.
as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, go ahead, discussion.
Okay, discussion. I voted to approve the budget as presented. I'd like to just be clear on a couple of things that I would like immediate action on the classification and the classification of, as we talked in the past, of employees, salaries, and stuff like that. So I'd like to, be clear that we need to get that done as soon as possible. We also have a problem with our commercial sanitation. I talked to Mr. Dilly about it. He said it might be a good time to bring it up. As far as we're losing all our commercial customers. I don't know, Mr. Dilly would like to brief us a little bit on that?
Well, actually, that's a state mandate that, on the commercial, basically, isn't it, Mr. Bennett?
Yes, it is, and that's a recent legislative change.
Yes.
To the comment that Councilman Diaz is getting to, I think the topic, sooner or later, and maybe it's sooner than later, warrants discussion at the council level. I was told that last week we lost a couple more,
Commercial.
not just any commercial, but some of our biggest commercial accounts that have an impact to the tune of $40,000 to $50,000 a year for our department.
To who? To who do
Waste
we
management.
Well,
To waste.
it all depends on the companies. See, the thing is that the state of Arizona approved it, and let's thank our legislative body and our governor for that. That commercial businesses can now go to anybody else, so we don't have any control over commercial.
So I think what we need to do is schedule a work study session or a special session where we can just really dive into that one topic and talk about it. Obviously, we've got, as part of this budget that you've considered tonight, we've got an item where we're going to purchase a garbage truck. I think this kind of discussion is really important to have prior to making a purchase like that. It's a sizable purchase. Staff's going to do our due diligence in researching options, making sure that those options that we present to you are options that will work for our operational needs. But to assume that we can just continue to go status quo and not make any changes to how we approach sanitation service in our community probably is a false assumption. We need to visit it and talk about what we're really facing as we look to tomorrow. And so, that being said, I think it warrants having
Yes.
a real good sit-down discussion on that issue. Mr. Mayor, if I could address the work comp study.
Yes.
That's not, Councilman Diaz, that's not something that we can do internally. It's a very complicated thing. You look at salary compressions, you look at different job duties and classifications. It is very, very complicated. I don't know if Joe's got any kind of experience with that, but my experience with it is if you want to really screw it up, you do it yourself. If you want to do it right, you get somebody who, that's all they do, is do comp class studies and analysis. That comes with a price tag. And so maybe what we can do is we can start, and this goes back to our discussion at the tentative budget. But we can start researching those options, and we can start understanding what we're really facing, and we can bring that information back to the council so that we can have a dialogue on it and start planning how we're going to approach that particular issue. It's not a small task. It's a very complicated one. And if you don't do it right, then you put the city at risk of grievances and all sorts of types of personnel problems. So certainly warrants another discussion, but I take the charge very seriously, and we'll start looking at those options and bringing that back to you for consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Joey. Mr. Diaz, in reference to the sanitation, the commercial, you know, there's options to be able to defeat this mandate from the state, and that would be customer service from our departments, and maybe even up to the point of reducing the cost. This way, these companies won't take a lot of these contracts. In the past, Waste Management had taken 250 accounts away from us, and thanks to Mr. Machado, this was back in 2002. That's when we kindly asked them to leave Nogales. Remember that, Mr. Machado? And they left, and we got all our accounts back. And now the state puts this mandate and says, you know what, you can go in and commercially and take over the accounts. So we have to prove ourselves as a city that we can perform better, that we can probably reduce the cost one way or the other to keep the accounts. Or otherwise, we could lose a lot of the commercial accounts for these companies. Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Mayor, part of the problem is that Waste Management, and they came to see me too, but they can wheel and deal a price with you right there on the spot.
Yes.
If they know what the city's charging, because it's an ordinance and everybody knows what the city charges. So they know what they're charging, so they can go to a customer and wheel and deal right there and tell them, well, we'll charge you 25% less. The city can't do that because we're set in an ordinance as to what we're going to be charging.
Yes.
You know, again, we will run into a problem that people will then start saying, why is so-and-so being charged this amount and I'm being charged this amount? But Waste Management, they can wheel and deal anything they want to do. In fact, they can come to you and say, look, I won't charge you anything for 6 months.
Yeah, they're known for taking over cities' garbage.
Yeah.
Real easy. They have the control. They have the power. They can do that. They're big companies.
We're talking really the core issue here is government competing against private industry. And some people think that government shouldn't compete with private industry. There's another school of thought that government should be doing this because we're closer to the people. We can, you know, we're operating at a not-profit type level. We're just covering our costs. So really, when we're looking at this, if we're losing accounts now, and this is going to be part of our discussion, but if we're losing accounts now, it's because we can't compete. So we really have to. Our discussion really needs to be, okay, this is what we need to do to be able to compete. And I don't know what all that detail is, but that's going to be the crux of our discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dilly. So, do we vote again on this, or?
Can I touch on one more thing?
Yes, go ahead.
Another thing I'd like to bring up is the economy. We as a city should help all the small business because the small businesses are the backbone of America, as we all know. And right now, all small businesses are going through some very, very hard, rough, tough times. And everybody talks about getting big businesses, warehouses and factories and all that. We can't do that because we're in a very unique situation. We're in a border town. Border towns cannot compete with Mexico. They're paying their minimum salary 80 pesos a day, $7 a day, and we're like $8 an hour. So we can't compete as far as labor. But we should be a little bit more active in trying to help our small business owners and small businesses trying to open up a shop here in Nogales. And I don't know what we can do to help out, but we should, you know, we have staff that can work on ways of helping these people out.
That's something good, Mr. Diaz, and it's something that I think we should sit down as a council with staff and figure out what we can do for small businesses. Mr. Dooley.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Councilman Diaz, one option in my mind that continually is there, I mean, it's been there, and I think I mentioned it to the mayor early on, is the option of looking at like a small revolving business loan type program. Obviously, it takes a lot of discussion. We'd have to look at that, but the whole idea is that participants in the program pay it back at a rate that we can continue to loan to more to more businesses. And really what we're talking about doing is, we may garner, Terry, maybe 1%, 0.5% on our money in the bank, right? Okay. If a small business wants to go out and get a loan, they're looking at a small business loan of probably upwards of 6 to 8%. Okay, and that's just a guess. I haven't done my looking. So if we can offer a small business loan, it'd have to be, you have to go through all the legalese and we have to look at it, but other communities do it. If we can offer a small business loan at an attractive rate of 2% or 3%, we're doing more with that money than what it's doing just sitting in the bank, and it's helping a small business out because otherwise they'd be facing double that in interest, and it's a possibility. There's ideas like that out there, and maybe again another future discussion point for this year. But maybe we can engage in that as a council and see what we can do to help small businesses. Our real attractiveness, I think, is the quality of life that we can offer here. And I think as we attract more small business, as we look at our parks and our recreational options for families, and really focus on making Nogales a place to live, work, and play, I think that's what makes Nogales attractive. So.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Did we have a vote on that?
We did.
Yes.
We had a vote on the budget.
On the budget, no. He made a comment that he wanted a vote, but he wanted to correct something.
Okay. Okay, let's vote. Let's vote on the budget. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, 3. 3 to 4. Budget passes.
Just one comment, Mr. Mayor, if I can
Yes.
make it.
Go ahead.
I do want to congratulate everybody that did the budget. If you read every day about the city, San Bernardino, California, Stockton, California, they just had Scranton, Pennsylvania. I was just there. And they just lowered, everybody's salary went down to minimum, and if they didn't like it, they could go somewhere else. The city of Nogales has been able to reduce their expenses. We have been receiving less money. By my calculations, we're spending $5 million less than we were 5-6 years ago. And we have been able to control our budget, and we've been able to control everything. And other cities have not been able to do that. So I do congratulate everybody, even some of the people that are on the council here, that they have worked very diligently to go ahead and have this to where we can have a balanced budget. To where we can have a budget. I mean, most cities don't have a budget yet. Thank God that we were able to do it, and we were able to do it in time. And like they say with the IRS, April 15th, we were able to do it on time and correctly. So I do want to congratulate everybody that was involved. And I will say this, I spent a lot of time going through the budget, spent a lot of time talking to Mr. Dilly, Mr. Machado, Mr. Kissinger, everybody involved, Terry also, just asking questions about the budget, and which at other times we didn't have that available to us. But thank God we have a budget. And again, like I said, you can see what's happening across the United States, and thank God it's not happening here.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Item number 8, update on the Honolulu restaurant, RFP.
Mr. Mayor, members of council.
Go ahead, Mr. Dillon.
If I could, I'd like to invite Mr. Bachelier up to kick this off for us, and I'm sure it'll invoke further discussion between council and staff. So.
Bachelier.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as we're circulating additional information regarding this agenda item, just kind of want to briefly review a little bit of background and our efforts to try and find a tenant for the Honolulu restaurant. We've gone out to bid on 2 separate occasions. The most recent one, the submittal date was May the 25th. And again, similar to the first time we went out for an RFP, we ended up with 1 submittal, and we ended up with an unqualified bid. basically meaning majority of the information that was requested and asked for in that RFP was incomplete and or was not submitted. I think the city has, the second round of the RFP, we took some information from some of the bidders or interested parties from the first RFP and tried to make the second round a little bit more beneficial to both parties. The terms of the lease were improved and extended. There was additional properties that were included or area that was included in the lease. And to no avail, we ended up with, I think, the 4 same interested parties, but with still one submittal. So at this point in time, I handed out for discussion only some options that this body could potentially entertain to kind of give us some direction on where maybe we want to go with this now.
Are you going to walk us through those options?
Sure. Yeah, the first option is to consider an RFP for the entire property, and that would include the restaurant and the golf course itself. That's something that I think through the city manager's office and with legal's assistance, that could be done. Don't know if that's a step that this council would like to take. The second option would be to hire a broker of sorts, a land use expert. This individual would represent the city's interests and try to attract parties that might be interested in potentially agreeing to some type of a rental lease agreement with the city. The way I understand it, if I'm correct, payment for those services could be worked into the rental lease agreement if there is some type of a relationship struck with an interested party. Okay. The third one would be to put the entire property up for sale. That has yet to be vetted through legal. I don't even know if that would be a legal challenge, Mr. Machado, or not, but that would be another option. Another option that's already, that I didn't list on there, but that we've discussed on several occasions, has been the city operating the golf course and the restaurant. You know, it's kind of been cost prohibitive as far as our discussions have taken us. It's been an option that was considered, but I don't think it's ever been something that this council has been very interested in. And those are the options that we can come up with, unless this council has some additional options that, you know, staff might look into.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We put these options in front of you because I think we need just a little bit of direction so that we know what we need to bring back to you for some kind of action. The last efforts have been to just try to, you know, single out the restaurant, thinking that that was going to be the quickest way for us to get something in, you know, somebody in there to make it happen. We went through the first RFP process. We had no responsive bidders based off of the RFP. We had some suggestions from those that participated in the RFP, and so we made a second attempt. We modified the RFP per the dialogue that we had with those interested in it, and when we went back out again the second time, we only had one put in, and it wasn't responsive even to the modified RFP that we had. I don't know, based off of that track record, I don't know what to really expect if we were to go out on an RFP for the whole, you know, the whole piece of property, the whole parcel. It's up for some dialogue. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have. I feel that, you know, we could probably find a broker of sorts, a land use specialist that can help us find a marriage, find an interested party that could make good, solid use of the infrastructure and the property out there. They may take some time, but this person or this group, this company, would be doing the legwork, would be out there beating the bushes. They'd have the network, they'd have the contacts, they'd know, who to call on the golf course line of things. They'd know who to contact on the restaurant side of things, and try to find that marriage for us. And they would broker the deal, and they would come and talk to us about it. Again, there are some assumptions in this option, and that assumption is that we could work out the payment for those services just in the actual lease once they consummate some kind of deal for the city. That's what option 2 is all about. And then option 3 is, an option that I don't think has really been explored verbally at the council level. Maybe individually you guys have contemplated that just to yourselves, but maybe it's something that it is worth at least talking about, and that's to maybe find a buyer that could make use of that personally.
Well, if I am number 3, the way I look at it, Mr. Julie, to discuss that, what's going to turn out to be. It's going to be a development, a housing development. It won't be a golf course anymore if we were to sell it. Because
I don't know what kind of restrictions you can put on the seller.
The reason I'm saying is because, the issue it has a lot to do with that perception problem that the border region has. And we have to combat that. We have to take care of that perception. We have to make sure that everybody, knows. We know here in Nogales and in Santa Cruz County how safe we are. We need to know everybody else, especially the developers, the people that have the funding to be able to do something like that, to bring it up and have a great golf course, within the city of Nogales. But they have to feel comfortable. They have to be able to sell it themselves. We have to sell Nogales ourselves. That probably would be one of the biggest obstacles that would be there, even for a broker.
I agree.
Because they'll say, where's the golf course? And they'll say Nogales, and then all that we got from from up north, the perception of the border region will always cause problems. I thought maybe that if we pieced it out. The reason I'm saying is that because I had a couple of people contact me in reference to the pool and the offices on the side. And these are people that teach scuba diving. And they were interested in using the pool to teach scuba diving and then have the offices on the side so they could have tours down south to take people on scuba diving trips. And to be able to sell their equipment and rent the equipment off the offices on the side. But they're not interested in the pro shop. They're not interested in the restaurant. They're interested in the pool area and the southwest end of the offices alongside there. So I don't know. Could it be pieced out like that, Mr. Machado?
Sure, if that's what the council wants to do.
Because the last one we did was, the first one was the restaurant, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Then the last one was the restaurant and 9 holes, wasn't it?
No.
Or what was it, Marcel?
The restaurant,
The
the
pool?
driving range,
The driving range?
and the pool was an option.
An option.
Yes.
Okay, and that one again.
We made those modifications based off of the input that we got from the first RFP
Yes,
process.
okay, so we went.
So, one counter thought to that is, we had kind of been operating on this notion that when we were looking at the golf course side of things, that these other facilities, these other offices, would be an attraction, to somebody coming in and doing that. That could be totally wrong, and I guess sometimes you don't know the temperature of a pool until you stick your toes in it, right?
Yeah.
So we've stuck our toes in the pool of trying to get this restaurant going, and we haven't been successful that way. We can try our hand at the entire enchilada. We can try our hand at piecing out individual offices there in connection with the pool. I think there's a lot of options open in addition to what staff is bringing forward. But in my mind, the big 800-pound gorilla is the golf course.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we can talk to, you know, the offices and things, but really, the golf course is that 800-pound gorilla, and is the one that's weighing most on
Yeah,
my
because
mind.
if you put it out for sale, I can almost bet you're gonna get a developer jumping onto that, but not to turn it into a golf course. They're gonna turn it into a development.
Well, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, you're in the driver's seat.
Yes.
You don't have to accept anything. So, I mean, even if you were to say, hey, staff, I want you to at least explore this option, it doesn't mean that you have to go that way at all. It just means that you're understanding what your options really are, and you're understanding.
Susie, will you please stand on the
Just
podium?
wanted to ask a question. Has anybody considered maybe working with, I know I'm sorry, I haven't attended or been involved in this kind of aspect, but you're talking about the restaurant being and the golf course. Has anybody decided maybe perhaps working with one of the universities or schools for a culinary school, something that where you can actually do a training that you can lease out? I mean, so that you would use like a U of A at the same time provide something educational, they would pay a lease. I'm not quite sure, but I think the culinary schools are as far away as Phoenix. Maybe we could attract students from Sierra Vista and other areas, and maybe it would help the economy by that way. I mean, thinking outside of the box of just necessarily going out there and thinking of this big golf course. I mean, let's try and envision into something that will actually probably not only help educationally, providing another skill in the community, but perhaps also provide more young people to come back to Nogales rather than leave it, and then leave it with a better skill. Just an idea.
In reference to the restaurant, yeah, possibly we could probably look into something like that. But the golf course is what's causing the property value to drop in that area
Oh, is
because
it?
of the way it looks. And we're not keeping it up for them to play, and we're having to clean it right now.
Can you turn it into a park?
don't
I mean,
think
would it be a big problem if you're already paying the money and you're not getting any use out of it? Why not just fence it, put up a park sign, and there you've got everybody happy?
I don't think that's what, you know, golf course is what sells the properties there.
I see it.
That's what it really sells. That's what, the residents of Meadow Hills, that's what they've told me. They would love to see the golf course, you know, be brought up.
So their homeowners association be interested in taking over the golf course and actually doing it themselves?
I don't think so,
Oh,
Marcel.
sorry.
I think there's a question there.
Yes, Mr. Pala?
You know, if we don't do some kind of work to the restaurant, it's gonna fall down. I mean, it's got a lot of bad areas, it can't be used yet. It's gotta be cleaned up, fixed up. Otherwise, the health department won't let you get in it. So some of the rooms that are already infected.
We need to,
So we need to
do some
put a few cents in order
That's
to
right.
sell it.
And-
Otherwise, we're not gonna sell it. It's a long-term investment you're trying to make.
And we're working on that, just so the council knows. There's been a list provided or a list made of things that need to be addressed. Even if we had an interested person in the restaurant, we would need to take care of a few items before it would be able for them to move in. So we've got those things on our radar, and we'll take care of that.
Well, on this, Marcel, you know, what you presented to us here is maybe something that we're gonna have to sit down and talk, and we're gonna have to bring this one back, Mr. Dillon.
Okay.
Bring this one back and maybe discuss it in a study session form. Could you find some more information, Marcel, in you know, in areas not in the sale part? I don't know about the concept, but I don't think I would go and sell the property, because I know it's gonna turn into a development. We will not have a golf course in Nogales if that happens.
That's right.
So, you know, they'll buy the land, oh, that's prime property to build homes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I have to put this out because I really want to manage expectations. And I just want to put it out there that the economy and the fact that we've got the Esplendor just to the north of us and we've got Keno just to the east of us, I don't know if we're going to have a golf course there.
Well, not,
I'm just saying. I just want to manage expectations a little bit. I think we should strive for what we want. And if it's a golf course, then by all means, that's our effort. But I just want to manage expectations because there's some things outside of our control, and the economy is one of them.
no,
So I just
I
want to manage.
understand. We all expect the economy to turn and for the better. And you know, it'd be nice if we could get the restaurant up and going, because the restaurant alone will help us out a lot. And like we always said, that's a hook, you know? And if we can get that going, that's a plus. And maybe the ideas that Mr. Parada has of us investing a little bit more in it to make it, you know, nicer for somebody to be interested in purchasing or leasing it from the city, that's the direction. But I think we should bring this back on another day.
I think so too.
If all we've done is planted some seeds with these ideas, then I think we've met our goal, and we can bring it back as a special session item.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, just
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Billy, was when they advertised, did they advertise in golfing magazines? Or was it just advertised locally here in Nogales?
It was more than locally. I know that we advertised up in Tucson. I'm not quite sure.
Did we do, Mr. Bashir, did we do any golf magazines? Because every time you see a golf magazine, they have their golf course for sale or whatever, right?
Yes, so they advertised in the Daily Star, also Nogales International, in their newsprint as well as their website. I know we put it on our website. We looked into the internet or the website for the Arizona Daily Star, and they wanted for 1 month $1,700 for 1 month.
Councilman Hennessy, I just wanted to remind you that our efforts to date have been the restaurant, not the golf course. So we really weren't looking down that avenue. We hit what we thought would get it out into the market in Tucson. We did what we could here locally.
Well, you know, there are small golf courses that do make it. I mean, I think the most interesting one is the one in Naco. Naco, Arizona has a golf course. It's been there for a long time and it's still working, right? How they do it, I have no idea. But they still do it. So there are golf courses in small communities that do work out.
I don't know if there's a course around them though.
That there's a what?
Maybe it's the only game in town, right? So.
Well, no, they got Sierra Vista away there that has everything, but, you know, but Naco, you gotta go take a look.
Okay.
It'd be interesting. But if anything, we should advertise somewhere with a golf, not in bowling, but in a golf club,
Got it.
magazine.
Okay. Thank you. We'll bring it back.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Dilly. Thank you, Marcel. Item number 9, update by Luis Munoz Jr. on Eagle Scout Cemetery project. This was presented by Councilman Diaz. Councilman?
Yes, Mr. Luis Munoz, he's working on a project. It's to enhance the veterans plot up on top where we have Memorial Day services. And he's doing a project for Eagle Scout. And his project is not gonna cost the city, VFW, American, it's not gonna cost anything. They're doing it on their own with a triple nickel Boy Scout troop. And it's a very good project. We already passed it through American Legion VFW. All members were unanimous in approving it, and it's a worthwhile project. So I'll let Mr. Munoz take over and he can walk us through the project.
Thank you very much.
Well, as we know that every Memorial Day, the VFW and the City of Nogales hold a ceremony for those who have given their lives for our freedom. And if you turn to page number 3 in the packet that was handed out, there's a picture of what the area looks like now. It's very uneven, rocky, not very safe for the elderly there, as that I would like. So what I want to do is, and if you turn to the next page after that, that's what I want to do. I want to put cement pavers and level out the area, so that way it gives the area a nice look, and it makes it safer for the veterans and those families who go and look at their fallen loved ones' plots. And I think this is overdue because our veterans have done so much for us that we need to give back to them. So this is a project I would like to do. I have spoken with the VFW, as Councilman Diaz has said. I've also talked to Mr. Bachelier and Mr. Lopez, and they also like the idea. And I've talked to Home Depot. It's pending on if they can get us their donations from their suppliers. And I've also talked to Rene Martinez at Calport, who has also pledged to give us donations if if Home Depot is unable to.
That's great. You know, I saw the before and after. It's a great job. You know, I think it's something that is much needed there. You know, the one thing I can offer from the city council and the city, if you need any letters of support in reference to for the donation of the materials from Home Depot, we can help you out with that. They've always helped us out in all of our events. They're very good at doing that. Home Depot does that. So you know, we can help you out on that. And if you need laborers, you know, I know several that do that type of work. And two of them are in this room.
That's the mayor.
The mayor and my wife. That's the type of work we did for 25 years.
Well,
So-
the scouts would be helping as well, and when we talked to George Leon, the store manager at Home Depot, he said they have a volunteer group that come out and
Yes,
help
they do.
community groups. So he also offered them as well.
Yes, they help out with the program Christmas in April, Rebuilding Together. They always help with that program, and they also help out with the Clean City, Healthy City initiative. They're very good about that. Thank you very much. I mean, it's a great job. Very good job.
Congratulations.
Yes. Anybody else in the members of the council would like to say anything?
I just want to congratulate him on taking this project upon himself and thinking of it and presenting it. Like he says, it's a long time coming and it's great, and we want to wish you a lot of success with it, and let's move forward. Let's get it done.
You know, Mr. Diaz, there's another group of Boy Scouts that are going to be constructing concrete benches. We talked about that, Mr. Munoz. And they're going to do ceramic tile, and they want to install the benches in the city, in areas where people can sit down and rest and stuff. So it's another good project that the Boy Scouts are doing. So
That's great.
good job.
Good
Good
job.
job. Excellent.
With your
Congratulations.
excellence and everything, you're going to be the mayor.
Yes, yes. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Me va a quitar el trabajo, ¿verdad?
Yes, sir.
Item number 10, discussion and possible action, update on police chief position. This was presented by Mr. Parada and Mr. Felix. Mr. Parada?
Yes, sir. On the position, I'd like to hear you pull the advertising or add to the advertising that you put up. The salaries are open, depending on the experience, not a $71,000 salary.
Okay.
Right. You want it as a vote, or
I don't think it's something that you can vote on.
Right.
It's my call. But let's have a dialogue on it. I think it's a good idea. When you post a position with just depending on qualifications, sometimes, most of the time, and it's been my experience, most of the time you get people that come in under potentially false pretenses. If you're only in the position of offering a certain salary, and you don't post something there to give people a ballpark and where you're at. For instance, on our end, if I just put depending on qualifications, I could get somebody that comes in thinking that they can demand a salary of $110,000. That's just simply outside of our ability to compensate, and it's not very fair to the applicant making that application. Usually what happens is when a professional is looking at applying for something, they look at where the city's at, and if it says depending on qualifications, then they know that they can come in and probably demand a little bit more if they can justify it through education, training, experience, what have you. I thought a lot about this. I'd heard a concern about this, previously, and I think maybe what we can do, polling advertisement means that we would have to re-advertise, and that's an additional cost to the city. But there are places that we haven't been able to get into yet and advertise, and maybe what we can do there is post something a little bit different. Our range is what it is. But maybe what we can do is we can put the range there, depending on qualifications, and then call it good. So we'll have the range, and not just one number, but we'd have a range and say depending on qualifications. We still have potentially a problem with that because our budget is what it is. But it would invoke, at least it would help manage the expectation of the applicants as they're coming in. They would know. I could even probably put on there, find a way to to put where the last chief of police was being paid, just so they understand kind of where the city's at. I think that's only fair to the applicant. I'll get with if that's something that you guys.
Just a question. I don't quite understand what Mr. Parada is asking, but how is the application out now?
Right now, and it's how we handle all of our positions. It's not just this one, but we post the base of the range, the minimum of the range, depending on qualifications. So we're giving applicants, as they're looking at these jobs, an understanding of the low end, and then it's up to them to push the city higher, depending on what they're bringing to the table and can justify it.
I think most are put that way, right? I mean, I've
All-
never seen one that
All of our
that's without
positions,
anything.
all of our positions are posted that way. So that's how we did this one.
Mr. Julian, the way I look at it, we hired you to be the city manager, okay? I myself, I don't want to get involved in the way you do the hiring. If I had anything to do with the hiring of a director, then I would be wanting to know exactly what's going on. I strongly believe that you do your job the way you think is the best thing to do for the city of Nogales. And if there's anything that we have to do as a council to say, you know what, we're going to increase the salary for this person, amend the budget to put more money into it, that's a whole different ballgame. You're in the process right now of conducting hiring of a police chief. Okay. I know Tucson, they have a different charter, and they go and they say, you know what, the city manager recommends, and the final decision is made by the city council. In Nogales, it's not that way. He is a director. He falls under you. You fall under us. And I think what you do as a city manager, I strongly believe that that's the way it should be done, and I trust what you do, sir. So,
Mr. Mayor, members of the council,
that's the way I think it should be done.
Something that's very important to me is to try to maintain consistency. I advertised the Public Works Director this way. I've advertised the Human Resource Director this way. I've advertised all of our positions this way. I assure you, I promise you, that as I go through this process, there will be applicants, our top applicants, that will be commanding more than what we stated on the job description. It's just the nature of the beast. And I will be in a position of having to manage that and figure out how to make it all work. They are going to come in because they can demand it, because they've got the experience, they've got the education. They're going to come in and they're going to command a salary higher than what we've posted. That's why I have depending on qualifications, because I'm opening the door for them to be able to do that. I know that that's going to happen as I'm sitting here.
Not the way I read it.
Sir?
Go ahead, Ms.
Okay, I think that just by suggesting, we're not hurting the manager, the city manager. It's just options that we're giving him. If he wants to take them, fine. If not, we'll respect them. It's just suggestions. We're not at least I'm not trying to boss you, telling you how to run your office. We're just making suggestions. And if you want to take them, fine. If not, I respect them.
How does it run here? Do we work for you or do you work for us? And I respect your opinion, but that's your opinion. I would have liked to have seen it before we went out for prenup. And the day I called you up, give me not date, but the position, the second day you put it up. And it's been over, how many weeks had passed when I asked you what's going on, and why don't you put it up for bid?
June 20th is when we put it out.
That's right. The day before, when I reminded you about it, and you put it the 20th.
Well,
The 19th of remaining.
Respectfully, the last day, official last day for Chief Kirkham was until the end of June.
Yeah, the 30th.
So, I mean, well,
If we know he turning his letter.
no, that's not, it's not good practice. It's not good practice. And so, you know, I put it out as early as I felt comfortable putting it out, and it was based off of discussions that I had with Jeff Kirkham. And I didn't put it out until I had a conversation with him and said, hey, are you comfortable with me putting this out? Which was a professional courtesy to him. And so I put it out when I felt as early as I could put it out. And I put it out in a way that was consistent with how we've handled other, you know, top senior management positions for this city.
No, but what I'm saying, Mr. Parada, is that we shouldn't be micromanaging the city manager, even though he works for us.
It's not micromanaging.
No, yes it is, yes it is.
It's a concern that I had.
When you talk about,
It's a concern
when you
that I
talk
had
about
about.
hiring practices, that's micromanagement. It's just because
I'm asking you as a public
we're
being.
policymakers and we're legislators. That's what we do. We do not hire staff, and we should not be talking to staff about anything either. That's his job. Give him the responsibility to do the job. I'm sure he's going to do a good job. Why are we going to be micromanaging?
That's not micromanaging, it's
Yes, it
asking
is.
questions to move things around.
No, yes it is. He put it out that if he gets people to apply, they'll apply. If not, he'll pull it out again.
The way I read it was $71,000 salary, annual salary, nothing else.
It had, depending on qualifications after that, Mr. Parada.
You know, $71,000 patrolman gets more than that.
Some do,
Patrolman,
yes. Some do, yes.
So we're
Maybe
talking
one or
about,
two.
we're talking about an important position, the chief of police. And this, one of the things that people look for in a town, public safety, and good qualified people. So,
Go ahead,
okay,
sir.
I'm restless, go
Mr.
ahead,
Anastasia,
do something
go ahead.
else.
Mr. Mayor, again, this is Mr. Dilly's call, right? I mean, if we're gonna sit there and look at every article that goes out, and one of us is gonna convince it, I mean, we might as well stop wasting our time, right? Mr. Dilly was hired to do a job. He's done an excellent job. And the $71,000, I don't think makes any difference. I mean, it's gonna be, again, the people will walk in. Some people will say they want $200,000, some people will say what it is. At least you have a starting point. Everything has to have a starting point. If you go look for a job, I've never seen where they just said, come in and give us your best shot, right? Somewhere along the line, you have an idea what they're gonna be paying. And I think, again, this is strictly a call from the city manager, has nothing to do with us. I have no intentions of being involved in trying to pick the city chief of police or any of the people dealing with the city, right? And none of us should be involved in that, and none of us should be convincing the staff either. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 11, discussion and possible action, June 20th incident at Public Works. Before we go into discussion of this item, I do not want anybody to disrespect anybody, and I want to make sure that there's civility in this one, because this is a very critical one. It could easily go out of control. Members of the council, members of the public, I do not want for it to go out of control. That's all we have right now. Mr. Dilly?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this item was requested by Councilman Parada and Felix.
No, I'm sure they want an explanation, I guess, sir.
Why was it done that way?
Is that the general question from the council? I'd be happy to answer.
Yes,
Why is it
that's what
done?
Mr. Felix said. What was it done that way?
For the last year, John Kissinger and I have been working with Eddie. What's Eddie's last name? Cota. A lead ICE agent on an investigation that apparently has been underway for a lot longer than that, right? 2009. Mr. Cota approached John and I in a meeting, and he started soliciting information regarding some of our employees. That was prior to the council taking action and adopting a more stringent drug and alcohol zero tolerance policy. However, as we were working with Mr. Cota, he continually pressed upon John and I the need for complete confidentiality, otherwise it would compromise the investigation. And so we were pretty strict to that arrangement. The arrangement was that he would allow my office to stay updated on the progress of the investigation. We would be willing to funnel information regarding any employees that he wanted to investigate or felt necessary to investigate as part of his efforts, and that again he would keep us updated on the progress of the investigation. There came a point in time, and this was just a little bit prior to when you guys adopted the new policy in the personnel manual, when Mr. Cota came to me and informed me what some of the allegations were on these employees that he was looking at. He was pretty careful with me and John not to reveal names. I think he intentionally asked for more names than what he was really looking at because he wanted to protect the integrity of his investigation. But the allegations were aiding in drug smuggling activities through the use of city time, city equipment, city trucks, city resources, the potential sale of city seals to aid in those that would want to transport drugs north, so on and so forth. And because of those allegations, and in addition to that, he decided to tell me that even with the arrest that took place, the investigation was ongoing with additional employees of the city of Nogales. I felt it was really important to send a clear message to our organization, to the community, that they can trust our organization, they can trust the city employees, that we are an organization that has a zero tolerance, and my actions and the actions of this administration were to support the new policy that you put in place. And so as I was working with Mr. Cota and ICE and other law enforcement agencies involved in this, the thought came to me that I could do all of that if I aided those agencies in the apprehension and arrest of those employees. So when the morning of June 20th came, it was a surprise to me. Working with the federal government is at a snail's pace, and then when they're ready to go, it's 150 miles an hour. I came to work that morning, and Mr. Cota was waiting for me, and he said, "We want to pull the trigger." And I said, "Well, you got to wait because I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks." And he says, "No, we need to pull it." And I said, "Well, if you have to do it, it has to be today then." And so I had already talked to Mr. Cota. He had already talked to his arrest team about the plan. There were many law enforcement personnel involved in the briefing. The county attorney's office was involved, understood what we were going to do, understood what the venue was over there at the Parks and Rec building. We had our own police department involved in that. They understood where it was going to be and what was going to need to shake down. Not everybody, but the people that needed to know knew. And we conducted we helped facilitate the arrest of those employees. I felt that the actions that were done on the 20th supported council's initiative to have a zero tolerance in our organization. It fostered the trust and confidence of the general public, because for the last 2 years, I've heard rumors, not only from some of you as council members, but the general public anonymously, that they knew of activities by staff that were illicit, that were not legal, that involved drugs. And if those kind of rumors are going around out there, the general public needs to see very obviously that this organization has taken a step in the right direction in enforcement and a zero tolerance. We were able to apprehend all at once and not have single incidences that could have gone one way or the other. And I was able to spend, in my opinion, a very valuable 45 minutes with the rest of the employees that were there and saw what happened and understood that there's a consequence to those kind of actions, and had a good talk with them. And so those are the reasons why we moved in that direction.
Mr. Mayor, can I answer?
Yes, go ahead.
The mayor is trying to make an image, clean the image.
Yes.
And I think the way it was done improper. And the image was bruised.
Well, in a way, yes, I'll answer this, Mr. Good. In a way, you can look at it, yes, because, you know, we've been trying to get out of this dark cloud for the past 2 years. And for other things that happened that I don't want to even discuss. But the thing is that, you know, if what was done was going to get done one way or the other.
But that
The
was not the
employee,
right way.
yes, I understand, but the employees, either here, at home, on the job site, wherever they are, they're city employees. And their pictures were still gonna come out in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Everything was gonna be, so the image there is there. Now we have a little bit of a dark cloud coming back. Now we as elected officials and staff, we should, Mr. Felix, we should respond and say, you know what, like Mr. Parada said when he put that item on zero tolerance, this is zero tolerance. Let's fight for this. And we, the city of Nogales, should fight for it. And we should all be on board in this.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Well, we shouldn't put anybody in front trying to apprehend 3 people. They put other people in jeopardy.
Well, you know what, for what I understand, and when Mr. Dilly told me about that, and the officers that talked about it, they had done an intensive background on these people, and the investigation, like Mr. Dilly said, was pretty long. So they knew who they were going to be addressing and arresting. And if there's others out there, Mr. Federer?
Well,
Mr.
yeah,
Mayor.
you're gonna do the same thing?
Well, I don't know, that's up to Mr. Dilly, it's not my position.
Okay, I've got 25 letters, I cannot ignore the complaints, so I signed. The way, getting the investigation going is one thing, but the got arrested, that's fine.
Mr.
But
Parada,
the
there were over
manner-
100 people in that
I
room.
know, but the manner that the people were called, what statements did you use to call the people to get together? What did you?
Yes, it was a false pretense.
Okay.
Okay, so if our effort is to find fault in the activity, I can identify several, and I'm the one that was probably mostly involved, if that's our interest. And so you're going to be successful if you want to find fault in it. But if you want to help this community get past some of the rumors and make positive change, I can see a lot of positives in the event of June 20th. And it's just a matter of where you want to be on the issue. There's going to be a lot of opinions out there. I know that I know this isn't gospel. I know Manny. I don't know if Manuel Coppola is here tonight. You know, he probably jumped for joy for the little plug, right? But on the Nogales International, there were almost 600 people that participated in that poll, and 60% of them supported what this city did on June 20th. So if we want to face the trial of public opinion, that's one measurement that we can use. I personally haven't had anybody come up to me and criticize the action. Maybe you have, and I'm sure that over the course of time, we're probably going to get our share of both. We're going to have people that like the idea, maybe are neutral to the idea, or maybe totally are opposed to it.
Mr. Dilly,
I made my decision.
One thing that,
And-
Mr. Henderson, I've had a lot of calls. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to be honest with the members of the council. Now, one call that I've gotten in my office, and people that I met while I've gone to the stores and everything, has said that the city manager and the city of Nogales did the wrong thing. Everybody said that we did the right thing. And you know the worst thing about it? That these people are telling me on the street that there's other people there that we weren't even looking at, and I go, no, I don't want to hear about it.
That's right.
And see, so why do other people out there know more than we do? I don't know. But
Because people see it,
Yeah.
and people hear about it. And if we don't take as an organization progressive steps to deal with it, and Ms. Prada, I've had you in my office talking to me about concerns. All of you guys have talked to me about concerns one time or another about the activities of employees. Why? Because you hear it or you see it. And I just think maybe it's about time that we get behind the policy that you guys put into place and make sure that we're not dealing with. Do I want to go through something like that again? Do you think it was fun for me to do that? Man, it was probably one of the toughest things that I've had to do in my profession. But it was necessary, and that's what you guys asked me to do. That's what you guys pay me to do.
All I want to know is for me to answer the right questions, the right answers to the people that asked me the question.
Sure.
One of them said, "Who did the planning?" I said, I don't know. It was either you or John. I do not know. They said it was you and him who did the planning. I said, I do not know. They said, do you agree with the planning? I agree on what they did, but I don't agree on the way they handled it. Because there's each of those individuals have a home, and they come to work at 8 o'clock, whatever time they come to work, they could have been arrested coming in or going out of work or going to their home.
Yeah.
See, the thing is that maybe you may lose a little bit of trust of the employees for saying, hey, I have a meeting, and they say, hey, he's not having a meeting, he's in another roundup.
Potentially, you're right.
You know.
So I don't think that I could have done what we did if I had said, hey, come to this meeting because we're going to arrest some people. Okay? No. And so I had
arrest
to.
outside by themselves.
No, they were listed.
What do you mean no?
No,
You're
they
saying
were-
no, but you
no,
don't say why.
No.
He hasn't answered my question.
What are you talking about? Arrested?
I'm
They were
talking
arrested
why
inside.
was it done that way?
Okay, so tell them why it was done that way.
I thought that I
You
had.
don't say
Mr.
no,
Fedez.
you don't know. It's
thought,
him.
I thought that I had answered your question. What didn't
You
I
answered
answer?
the question.
No, not properly.
Okay.
Why was it done that way? I mean, you
Where-
could have
where-
done it, they could have picked him up. We're doing the ICE job. We're not ICE.
No, I didn't. The city, I want to make this very clear. The city of Nogales did not arrest these individuals.
I did it.
None of our
Why did they do
personnel,
it themselves?
they did do it.
Well,
And
why
we
did- why did you
cooperated.
get-
And
why
we
did
cooperated.
Why did we call him into a meeting?
Because I wanted to have those valuable 45 minutes with the other staff that were left afterwards. Because ICE told me that the investigation is ongoing and that there are other employees that they're looking at. And I wanted the message to be sent very clear to the organization that this city does not tolerate those kind of activities by our employees.
Mr. Mayor?
That's why I
All
did
right,
it.
so
Go ahead, Mr.
I'm
Clement.
clear to say it was your planning and John Deal's and Kissinger's planning to do that.
No, you're not clear to say that.
I
No.
can't. Who did it? Who did the planning to get the people together at recreation? That's all I want to know.
If you want to know who authored the idea, me. I authored the idea. But if you ask Mr. Bachelier, if you ask our human resource director, if you ask our police chief, if you ask our public works director, anybody you want to ask, it's this administration that took action. I had complete support in this.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Again, everybody keeps talking about what they should have done. Of course, every time I've ever seen that they do it at home, I think it would have been more embarrassing to be picked up in front of your wife and your children instead of your co-workers. As far as I know, nobody really cares about the co-workers, right? You can see it in basketball where they go to another team every day. So I don't understand. I mean, the program went down as it was supposed to go down. The people were reviewed constantly. They knew who was coming in. There was a lot of people there. They knew exactly what was happening. They never got the families involved. There was no little children involved. How many times do we see in Tucson that there's a shootout because they went to the home? We just had it where they went to, there was in last week's Daily Star. They went to a home, they went to the neighbor next door, right? And there was a problem there. Here we were gonna have 3 problems, going to 3 different homes. What if we went there too early or too late? What if we picked them up at the job site? What if they were on Morley Avenue and here comes 15 squad cars and they arrive and they drag the man into the deal and everybody's watching this and they have to do that 3 times. I don't care what you read, everybody says get them together, get them where you can be seen and get them away from everything else. Also, this has been going on for a long time. I mean, everybody's heard about the deal in New York City, where they told the people that you had just won some tickets for the Yankee game. Everybody who owed money on tickets, who had outstanding warrants, they received a letter. Come to Yankee Stadium and get your free tickets. And what did they all do? Mr. Parada, what did they do? They went to Yankee Stadium and get their free tickets, and they got grabbed and thrown in jail. So this is nothing new. I mean, this is pretty much standard procedure. My question is this, Mr. Felix, what would you have rather do, that they went to their house? Would you have rather picked up at the house?
They drove to the public works. They could have picked them up on the road.
You wanted 15 or
Why
20 or
couldn't
30
you
squad cars
involve-
arriving
Why do
at
you
one
involve
time?
more people?
What, would you like them, the squad cars arriving with sirens and
No,
AK-47s?
no.
That's not the way it was presented. It was picked up very decently, as far as I can see.
Those kids in the
Everything
pool.
was taken into
Those kids
consideration.
in the
What was
pool.
not taken into
Parents in the
consideration?
pool. I
Well,
think
nobody,
we've done it proper.
they were
That's my way of
inside, they
thinking.
were inside
I don't think-
enclosed chambers.
We shouldn't be discussing among ourselves here, sir. I don't think he should be
Well, it
tolerated.
was
I don't either.
He has a
agenda.
right to ask, he has a right to answer or say, but I don't think he has a right to be interrogating
No,
Mr.
but
Felix.
I understand, but it's a discussion right now, and you want to bring it up and put it on the agenda. This is something I think should have been discussed in Mr. Dilly's office by Mr. Parada and Mr. Felix, but you want to put it out to the public.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
I would like to make a public statement if I could.
go ahead, Mr. Dilly.
I look back on the event of June 20th, and it was difficult for everybody involved. It was difficult for me. It was difficult for this administration. I'm sure it's been difficult for council. It's been difficult for the employees that were there. It's difficult all the way around. That being said, I look back on the action of June 20th, and if I had to do it all over again, I don't think that there was much I would change. That doesn't mean that it wasn't difficult. It doesn't mean that there may have been employees that were there, and obviously, we've got 6 that are on record, or 26 that are on record, who struggled with that experience in one form or another. I am truly sorry if the experience was tough to go through, but it was tough all the way around. It is my hope that we never have to do that again. I don't want to do it again. I'm sure that anybody sitting in that room wouldn't want to go through that again. But that's the very reason why I felt I needed to do it, is so that we don't go through that again.
Thank you, Mr. Dilly. Item number 12, discussion and possible action, Terrace Avenue complaints. Councilman Parada and Councilman Felix.
So the bad smell along Terrace Street, walked the street today and it's still there. And some of the vents are trashes all over the place. I mean, if you want to have a good image, there's a place to start right there on Terrace.
You know, that Mr. Parada has been an issue with me also, and believe me, Mr. Machado's been working on that, sir. He's been working on that, the legal aspect of that policy. And we're hopefully, we should address it pretty soon. Mr. Machado, I think where we are with that.
This is an issue that was brought up, I believe, by Councilman Parada a long time ago. And as a result, we've redrafted the ordinance. And I've already given it, one of the last things that Chief Kirkham did, we made some final revisions before he left. We finalized those, we had all the police department review it and so on. So it's in final form now. What I'll do at this point is give it to everybody else here, staff, and then let them make other suggestions, and we'll bring the final version to City Council. And what the ordinance does is just tightens up all the regulations that the people who work in that area must follow. And we've put in very specific enforcement provisions and penalties, and the hope is to clean up that area. I mean, we've got it set, it's already for you, so I'll bring it next meeting if you want. We're gonna have the rest of the staff look at it too, and then we'll see what else we can do.
It's that issue with those restrooms that allow us terminal, well, actually no terminals have them.
We have an ordinance, don't we?
No, of course we do.
Well, we don't have that
It's being-
ordinance, Councilman.
It's being fixed.
The current state of the ordinance is not strong enough for us to enforce and get all that stuff. That's why we're making all those revisions. We've already made it, but we'll bring it to you guys.
Okay, great.
Mr. Felix?
Thank you.
That it? Okay. Item number 13, discussion possible action on canceling, rescheduling regular council meeting of August 1st, 2012 to August.
I think it's to be determined by the council, whatever works best for you.
Would be the following Wednesday?
What's the following Wednesday? What's it, the 8th?
It's the 8th.
Is that fine? Will you all be back by then?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's do the 8th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 14, consider possible action of order number 2012-07-046.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for staff.
Go ahead, Mr. Dooley.
Mr. Zuniga, could I ask you a quick question on this particular item? Sorry to catch you on the spot. Now, I noticed in the application it had a deadline. Is that the end of this the end of this calendar year?
That would be item number
I'm sorry, number 14.
14.
Police Department, Homeland Security.
By July 31st.
Actually, if I remember correctly, sir, this grant,
Says the grant performance period is April 1st, 2012 through December 31st, 2012.
correct, sir.
So is that a deadline to have this completed,
Yes, sir.
the use of that grant money?
Yes, sir. This is fallout money from '09.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it was something that I was going to address anyway in my update to council, but it's in regards to Stone Garden. I was wondering if I could have just a minute to update you on that. I know that it's of concern to several.
Go ahead, Mr. Dillon.
So please stay there. So we've received over the last couple of weeks an amount totaling 800 and, is it 15 or 51? $815,000. We were outstanding, which was one of the reasons why we kind of put a hold on Stone Garden activities. This is Stone Garden, correct? Okay. We were stretched out to the state to the tune of $900 and some odd $1,000. So we've recouped the lion's share of our 2010 Stone Garden monies. The question on the table is, well, are we going to open things back up again? There were two qualifiers in my mind that were causing us to kind of hold off on the Stone Garden. One was that we were outstretched to the state to that level, and that's been as far as I'm concerned, mitigated. The second issue was the state is going to put a hold, like they did on the 2010 grant stuff. They're going to put a hold on the 2011 grant stuff if we can't get certain audit reports to them by a certain date in September. Okay, for 2011. Now, the last week of June, we started our audit process on 2011. The last week of July, our auditors are going to come back, and there's a chance that we can wrap up the 2011 audit easily by the September deadline. So as I start getting closer and closer to the end of this month, maybe a little bit into August, if that audit process is going as smoothly as my last report indicated, then I'll authorize to reopen back up that Stone Garden stuff. Now, the thing that I've been a little more flexible on in terms of Stone Garden has been the capital side, because this is the radios, the communication, and we're under some pretty tight deadlines with the FCC on that communication system. So that's been opened up, and I think this is communications as well, right? This grant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I just wanted to give you that bit of an update. I think it's great news that we've been able to get that money from the state, and hopefully we'll not have a problem in opening up Stone Garden again for our operations.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Julie. More discussion? No? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 15, consideration possible action of order number 2012-07-048.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Discussion?
Does everybody understand what this is?
I believe it's just a fire hydrant.
No.
It's an extension of a water line
Extension of a
that
water line.
terminates at a
Fire
water
hydrant.
fire hydrant.
It just has to meet specs, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it'll go through the.
So basically, the agreement, right, Joe, is they construct to our specs. Once it's completed and we can verify that it's been done to our specs, then we take it over.
We accept it with a warranty period and so on.
That's a future item for the council, right?
The whole project. No, that's the agreement there.
I was reading the agreement, it said that the infrastructure is
Well-
accepted by action of the council.
Yes, after the warranty period, yes.
Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 16, what we're gonna do is we'll entertain a motion for items 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21.
Mayor, if I can,
And
I put those items on the agenda, and requested that it be, the executive session be noticed if you felt it necessary to go back into executive session. These are the same agreements that we discussed previously in executive session. They have been finalized after we received directions from the council in terms of those agreements. We had subsequent meetings with CWA, the police union, and the fire union. We've reached an agreement, which are all reflected in the agreements before you. So if you have any questions regarding those agreements, or if you need to go into executive session, we can. There's one small change on the police contract, Article 6. Article 6 on the contract called for payroll deductions, 24 or 2 per month. And that's been changed to make it 26. Those annual deductions will be taken in 26 pay periods rather than twice a month. And it's just a bookkeeping matter or easier for accounting. And that was okay with the union. So we've substituted that corrected pay in the contract. And that's the only other change on it. If there's any other questions, I can entertain them. I know representatives here are from the various organizations, or we can go into executive session, however you'd like.
I'm all right with everything.
everybody's
They're in
okay?
agreement, which is great.
Vote on it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We need a motion.
Wait a minute.
We need a motion. Yeah, a motion that items 17 through 21 be
Yes.
approved.
Yeah, remove 16 because that's executive session. I had mentioned 16. So it's 17 to 21. Do I have a motion?
To be approved, yes, Mr. Mayor, I go ahead, make the motion to go ahead and approve agenda items 17 to 21.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 22, future agenda items.
we've got a few things that were already brought up relative to the budget discussion, so we'll keep those on our radar, and when staff is ready to have information to present to council, we'll certainly put those on.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Dooley. Item number 23, city manager report on current events.
I just wanted to inform the council on a few items. Some of them you may have already heard, but just to be clear, the governor signed recently a repeal to the ADWR administrative costs. Okay, this time last year we were issuing a notice to our residents and businesses that they would be incurring an additional fee because it was a pass-through fee, if you remember that. We're in the very throes of issuing another notice to them, only this time it's good news, where we're telling them that that had been repealed and that fee will now be taken off of their bill, effective the 1st of August. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so good news that way, and I just want to make sure you guys were aware of that change per the governor's signing that bill. We have filled the pretreatment safety position that started on Monday. That individual started on Monday. I echo the comments of the mayor on the Sun Corridor Economic Region meeting that was attended. At your, Aaron, please. We've prepared a memo that kind of summarizes a lot of the effort that preceded that meeting. So we're handing out a top memo from my office, and then a lot of the resolutions and legislative effort to recognize the importance of the Sun Belt, and particularly the city of Nogales being the premier port of entry for Arizona to Mexico. Attached is a little video. It's just a clip of this meeting, but it highlights the kind of focus that was given to the city of Nogales, and I think that was spurred by the fact that there were people. The mayor was present, I was there, and Aaron. So hopefully you enjoy that clip. It's about 6 minutes. It's a little fuzzy on the beginning end and a little fuzzy on the end of the clip because we had to edit it out of the bigger meeting. But enjoy it. I think you will. It had a lot of positive things to say about the city of Nogales and our importance on the economic vitality of the entire state. So I hope you enjoy that.
Thank you.
We kind of briefly mentioned the passing of Mauricio's father. The funeral is going to be this Friday, I believe. And that's not it. Where's it at? There it is. Friday at the memorial service will be held on Friday, June 13th at Martinez Funeral Chapel from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. So just wanted to make sure those of you who wanted to attend that's where that's going to be. For the regarding the budget and the 4th of July, I really wanted to publicly thank a lot of good, hard, devoted, dedicated working staff in preparing the budget and in helping with the success of 4th of July. I cannot tell you and the general public how much time is put into preparing a budget like this. It is a monstrous effort. It consumes every bit of effort that we can put into it. And so, I wanted to thank Terry and her team, our department heads, and anybody else involved in putting that budget together. Very difficult, but we're past it, and we're moving into the next fiscal year. And I think it's going to be a promising one. So that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Julian, thank you very much, and thank you for the support at that meeting in Maricopa. It's something that we have to look for our own good here with the global economy. And this meeting is adjourned.